I'm just waiting for this tournament to start, obviously. 6 more minutes, but it is full, so it should fire. Ever get down with Roy Buchanan? I mean, I've never met him, but yeah, I've listened to some Roy Buchanan. I can do a little bit of the kind of stuff where you manipulate the volume knob with the pinky on your right hand, which he was really good at. You may already know this, but there's a Jeff Beck song that's dedicated to Roy Buchanan on one of his, it's probably on Blow by Blow, but it's just all that like pinky manipulating the volume knob stuff. no, somebody dropped. Well, probably one person will come along. All right. Mox Jets. An auspicious beginning, perhaps. Yeah, I don't really think there's any reason to consider anything other than Mox Jet. Black is probably the color I like the least in this cube, but this pack has a lot of cards that are pretty bad in it, I would say. Well, the only black card is Tendrils of Agony, which I did a warm-up draft this morning where I drafted Storm in my deck. Was awful. But I think that happens a decent amount of the time with Storm. I think I'm just going to take Mox Opal. I think one of the easiest ways to get a real good deck in this cube is to just be the artifact deck. There's so many good artifact payoffs. There is Underworld Breach, which is obviously a very good card if you try to go some sort of Storm combo thing. Other than that, I don't know what else you could take. The old version of me would have picked Mystic Confluence here, but I kind of think those defensive blue decks are a little bit outclassed. I know some people really love Atraxa in cube. I'm not a big fan of the reanimation strategies usually. I'm going to take the Fairy Time Reveler. There's Nettle Cyst, which is one of the weakest of the have a lot of artifacts in your deck's payoffs, but it is one of them. Man, I love Remnant Excavator and Crucible of Worlds in the same pack. I love those cards. I think forcing artifacts is a baller move. I mean, I don't know that I'm forcing it necessarily, but there's a chance Mox Opal doesn't make my deck, but it's probably going to make it. All right, here, I guess, again, this packet just has mostly cards I think are pretty hard to play with in it. I guess I'll take Portal to Phyrexia, which is really only good if you get Tinker. And all right, I will take Walking Ballista too, because I think Walking Ballista is really strong in the all artifacts deck, or in the mostly artifacts deck. This thing, the Forensic Gadgeteer, is new to the cube, and I do think is good if you wind up in the mostly artifacts deck, but Walking Ballista is just one of the better cards, I think, in that deck. I'll take the Currency Converter here. The cards are it's pretty small. Is there a way to make the cards bigger on Arena? They're not on Magic Online. I could move my face for you, but I don't really know how you make the cards bigger. I guess I'll have it the sideboard window open. That should resolve some of your issues. There is, yeah. How do I do that? This is all cards that I most definitely would never play. There's a chance I wind up in a combo deck and I want Aetherflux Reservoir. It doesn't happen all that often. I don't think I'm going to miss anything else, though. Is it some sort of setting? Oh, card size. Bang. Get bigger cards. How big does it make them? This doesn't do anything. Deck card size. All right. These cards are going to be giant now. You may want to look away. Like you may not be prepared for what you're about to witness. Seriously, look away, and I'll let you know if it's safe to look. It's not safe to look. I don't know what happened. Gonna make the card smaller. I don't think there's a way to make them smaller. Hangerback Walker or Goblin Welder. Hangerback Walker is generally not actually very good in the artifacts decks, I would say. It's mostly only good if you have ways to sacrifice it, like Goblin Welder. So I'll just take Goblin Welder. We'll short circuit the issue of not having ways to sacrifice it by not picking it, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't tell you to look again yet. It's a tiny bit bigger than you want. All right, well, aim to please. Oh, and I need to leave that there. Oh, and I have the Pirate Spellbomb. This switching into red is really going great. Drop cards here for your sideboard. All right. I don't know if I have any cards for my sideboard yet. So there's Nettle Cyst. Which I don't think I'm going to miss. I think I'm just going to pick Manifold Key, which a lot of the times isn't good enough to make your deck, but when it is good, it's really good, I would say. There we go, card for my sideboard. Like, if I'm going to be trying to do some sort of Aetherflux Reservoir combo thing, I'm going to pick Sensei's Divining Top really highly, which is good with Manifold Key. I guess you could untap your Currency Converter. That's a lot of mana to be doing, though. Phyrexian Dragon Engine versus Flame Slash. I'll take the Dragon Engine. I'm not too proud to weld the Dragon Engine into play and draw 3 cards. I don't think I would play either of these cards. I don't think that either of them are so good that it really matters what I hate draft. All right, we've got the wildly unplayable Gaia's Cradle. Volcanic Island. I do not think this is a very good deck for Lion's Eye Diamond. Sir Ginger the Meal Ender. I'd like that better if its name rhymed. This pack's kind of disappointing. I was supposed to see Mishra's Workshop or Tolarian Academy. Guess I'm going to take Volcanic Island. It'll help me cast Urza, which is going to be in the next pack, which we'll get to see right now. What? I got the next pack, but where's the Urza? This is a disaster. I wanted that Urza. This is kind of a disaster. This pack is terrible. Bolsa Citadel is another one of those cards that can be good, but you really need to have Sensei's Divining Top for it to be good in this style of deck. Really just, I think in almost any deck, Bolsa Citadel doesn't do very much if you don't have Sensei's Divining Top. Alright, I guess I'm taking Scalding Tarn. What do I think of the Pioneer Vampire deck? I think it's probably pretty good. I was lurking in their testing Discord, which they invite me to like occasionally say things about Limited. So I knew that they were going to play it, but I haven't played a single game with it, honestly. Do I want the Displacer Kitten? Which I don't have any of the stuff that it's good with yet. Or Misty Rainforest. I guess I'm taking Displacer Kitten. Well, there's the Mishra's Workshop. Are things starting to look up? Perhaps. I need more artifacts, please. Actually, I like this thing. Shurikai, the Genesis engine. It does seem like artifact mana is at a bit of a premium this draft. All right, here we go, an artifact mana. Not really giving up anything else, either to take it. Man, I love drafting the fast bond decks. If we could go back in time, I would have taken that Reminep Excavator and gotten this fast bond. My experience has been that paradoxical outcome is almost always awful. But maybe I'll need it. I guess the other option is to take Manamorphose. Maybe that's better. I have Displacer Kitten and Aetherflux Reservoir already. I kind of think neither of those cards is going to make my deck, but we'll see. I know my cards are too big. They don't all fit on the screen because I have so many weird casting costs. Do I want a Phyrexian Flesh Gorger? Or do I want to maybe try to live this combo dream with Time Spiral? Maybe I'll try to live the combo dream with Time Spiral. Will I update my Spider Brawl deck? I don't think I've updated it in a while. I think at one point I added the Shalab from Lord of the Rings, but I guess that was a while ago. All right, we need something to pull this whole thing together, like a Soul Ring. I don't know that Soul Ring was really the thing to pull everything together, but it is going to be my pick, and it's really good. and I'm happy about it. So if I'm lucky, I'll get Mystic Forge or Arid Mesa out of this deck. I'm never really very happy with Emry in my artifact decks. I think of the like non-artifact cards you might actually put in your deck, it's one of the weakest. It's slow and uses the graveyard, which is not great. I'm just going to take Flooded Strand. Okay. I didn't play with whatever those initiative cards were. I know that it was something that just broke Legacy for a while, and then people were really happy when it was gone, but I still have no idea what they do. I generally hate Metamorph. But I think I maybe want to pick it here. Oh yeah, the new Izoni. That would be good. It'd be real good. So we've got a Narset, which I do have Time Spiral. It's also the Talisman. I think I'm just going to take Talisman of Conviction. So there's Ancient Tomb. How many more spells do I really want? I probably want to play like 16 lands, so I want 5-ish more spells. I think I'll just take Ancient Tomb. I always read Tameshi and I'm just like, how are you supposed to make this card work? It just seems so pointless. Like, if you don't get Black Lotus, it just doesn't do anything. All right. I'm feeling the One Ring. Man, this card, Broadside Bombardiers, is so good. Obviously, it's not... I mean, if there wasn't something as good as the One Ring, I might honestly just pick it. Because it is so ridiculous. It's kind of shocking that it's still in the pack. So I have two ways to discard. I have Currency Converter and Shorikai. I guess that's enough with the Welder. This pack's kind of nothing. I guess I'll take Stoneforge Mystic. There is a Cauldron Complete that might wheel. I think it didn't. I already picked one Eldrazi in case I play against someone who's really trying to brain freeze me. All right, the Mystic Forge wheeled, which isn't really that special. I know I said I don't like Emry particularly, but I think I might like it more than Fiery Islet. I kind of feel like this deck needs a little something. Like a Kappa Cannoneer, is that what I need? I think I'm just going to take the land. Have better mana. All right, we have Cauldron Complete. And the Sword of the Meek. Now we wait. I should probably play. I think I'm going to play one more spell. What are my options? Can you displace planeswalkers? You can. I could play Oust. I could try to... If I had one more equipment, I would play Stoneforge plus Cauldron Complete plus the equipment. I don't have anything that's an equipment. I wish I'd picked the... What did I take? I took Aetherflux Reservoir over Nettle Cyst. I think my deck would be better if I just had the Nettle Cyst. And then I could play Stoneforge Cauldron Complete. Maybe I should just play Time Spiral. I do have a lot of fast mana. I was unable to get either of the graveyard hate cards. Soulguide Lantern or Relic of Progenitus, which is kind of sad. For people who've never played or watched one of these 64-man things before, we're waiting. There's 8 pods drafting at the same time, and my pod drafted faster than at least one of the other pods. So we're waiting for them to catch up. Then I'll do deck building, which is basically done. I'm going to add 9 lands to my deck. I guess I could figure out what colors they're going to be. Need very little red mana. And I get 4 for free. Actually, I get 5. So if I had like 2 mountains, I would have plenty. I need very little white mana as well, right? I have fewer white lands. So it's probably going to be like 3 plains, 2 mountains, 4 islands. What's my personal best in these events? I got top 4. I've only been playing them. I think the first time I ever played one was Sunday. And I've gotten top 4 once and top 8 once. I played a decent amount of them. I probably played like, this is maybe my 6th or 7th. Do I really need this much blue? I think my colored mana is just going to be good in general. But I think that's what I'm going to do. Should I make the cards bigger? Look at that. I knew how to make the cards bigger on this thing, but now that Welcome to the List, it doesn't fit on the screen. Thanks for the alchemy video yesterday. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to try to make an alchemy video maybe tomorrow. We can actually, while we're waiting, we can look at the cards that are coming out today, because to me, most of the cards that are coming out today don't seem very good. But maybe some people have some suggestions for things to try. What are we doing with this Aetherflux Reservoir? We're trying to gain life. I maybe don't have enough stuff to support it. Like, I can, with the Reservoir, if I have like Displacer Kitten One Ring, I might get to the point where it goes off. Admittedly, this is not a particularly good deck for it, but I don't really have anything else I wanted to play. And I do have a decent amount of just ways to loot it away. So I guess I probably have to read these cards. People can't possibly read this. So this thing, when it enters the battlefield, opponent reveals each non-land card in their hand. You choose one to exile it. When it leaves the battlefield, you seek a non-land card with lesser mana value than the exiled card. So this thing, I mean, it's 3 mana for a 3/1, but it's a better effect than the 2 mana 1/1 for sure. Because it downgrades the card. Like you take their best card and you downgrade it. Obviously, there's a giant difference between a 3-drop and a 2-drop. But like if you wanted to, you could make a deck in Alchemy now that has this thing. It has, what's the name? Like Deep Cavern Bats. Is that the name of the 2 mana 1/1 that's in Standard? And Juggernaut Peddler. Like you could make your deck so you just really attack someone's hand. Yeah, it is. It's basically, it's just better Elite Spellbinder for sure. I kind of think this card probably isn't good enough to actually be played, but it's at least close. This case, I don't think either of these cases are good at all. This card, it has to do, so it's, when it enters the battlefield or is turned face up, you deal X damage to target opponent where X is the number of non-creature spells you've cast since the beginning of your last turn. It has Disguise. I don't think this is a particularly strong card. The only reason I thought it was a little bit interesting is just it's a goblin. And there are some really good goblin cards in Alchemy, but there aren't enough good goblins. Unfortunately, though, the one place where there is a lot of good goblins is at 3 drops. So that guy, I don't think he's as good as the other options at 3. This one, I don't think Scryfall shows me the spell books. I don't know what's in this thing's spell book. This card could actually potentially be good if the spell book is halfway decent. But I don't know what the spell book is. Also, it's only going to be good in like kind of a bad deck where you're just, trying to put a bunch of creatures on the board. I'm guessing the spellbook has something to do with +1/+1 counters just because it's an Amara, but who knows? Certainly I don't. It's all convoke spells. So this thing is a Thopter Lord. It's 1 and a blue, and your Thopters get +2/+0, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you get an Ornithopter into your hand, which then you would have to choose to cast for 0 if you wanted it into play. This doesn't seem like the worst card in the world, but I bet there isn't enough support for it in Alchemy, and it's just, there's no way it's good enough for like the older formats. Yeah, I don't think any of these other cards are particularly, well, I'm skipping over a bunch of ones I don't think are particularly interesting. Match still hasn't started. Someone has retracted their message. I don't know what that means, but okay. This is a card I was actually going to try. So you choose an instant or sorcery card in your hand or graveyard. The card adds blue to its casting cost, and when you cast it, you draw a card. Then you return a multicolored instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to hand. I've been trying Jeskai Control a little bit in Alchemy with No More Lies, Lightning Helix, and Flame of Anor. And so maybe this card fits with that, because it's card advantage, because it's card advantage assuming you get an instant or sorcery from your graveyard into your hand. So like it's you probably aren't going to want to play it on turn 2. And then you're going to be, you wind up being up a card once you play like whatever card you incorporated onto, and you have to pay the extra mana. This card's probably not good enough, but it's at least kind of interesting to try. Man, this Ominous Lockbox card is, I don't understand why they made it so bad. So when it enters the battlefield, you secretly choose a number between 1 and 20. When an opponent casts a spell with a mana value equal to the chosen number, you sack it. If you do, you copy that spell and you choose new targets. Or you can just sack it to draw a card. So, like, who's going to play this in just like 17? I'm just going to name 17. It's so weird. What? Like, I guess it's not that hard to just name 3 or 4 and have it go off. So maybe if it only cost 1 mana to put into play, you could say you were getting like a tempo advantage off of it, but at 2 mana and you're probably just going to get a 3 or 4 drop. Maybe this card is better than it looks. Because you are, like if it's in your opening hand, you're probably just going to play it and name 3 or 4, and then you'll get your opponent's 3 or 4 drop. You'll get a copy of it, but that seems not very good to me. The Stab Wound Crocodile. So this is a 6 mana 6/5, and when it enters the battlefield, you put a Stab Wound on each of your opponent's creatures, which that didn't seem very good to me, but then I realized it has cycling, so maybe you put it in your deck if you're doing a reanimation strategy. Probably it's at least good enough to have in your sideboard if you're doing reanimation. Oh, you want to play the Lockbox in Commander, and you just say whatever the casting cost is of their commander is. I guess that's decent. I didn't think this card is absurd. Like, not absurdly good, it's just absurd. Because the spell book is just all of the, is it the signets? Or lockets? It's one, I think it's the signets, or maybe, but it, I mean, it's obviously not good, but it's a funny card. All right, match 1. Can I artifact my opponent to death? This is not a very good hand. This is a much better hand. This is everyone's dream. Maybe I'll just play the Aetherflux Reservoir this turn. Save the key. Get that trigger. I maybe should have honestly just played turn 1 Colonnade, so I could have played Emry turn 2. Oh, my opponent has the Tolarian Academy that I wanted. And they have my Sol Ring that I wanted. Rude opponent. I'm definitely wishing I had just played turn 1 Colonnade so that I hadn't gotten my turn 1 Sol Ring skydivered. I'm sure nothing bad's going to happen to me, given that my opponent has, what, like 9 mana on the second turn? What was the third turn? I think it was the second turn. There's no way they have anything to do with this mana. Okay. Oh no, they bounced their Skydiver back to their hand. They're going to try to steal my Reservoir. One life gained. Look at all those lands I killed. Been nice to hit an artifact. Certainly there's no way they're going to be able to do anything good on this turn. They don't have enough mana. Come on, Upheaval. Give me my Upheaval and give me my Sol Ring back. They've claimed the reservoir for their own. Are they going to copy the reservoir? Could happen. That honestly could have gone a lot worse. So they have a talisman in their hand and some other non-land cards. I wonder if they're trying to set up to actually Aetherflux kill me this turn. Like, turn its servo into a reservoir. Come on, whiff. I think I've learned something about these tournament structure. I didn't realize you played out of pod. I think that I'm playing someone who wasn't at my pod. Maybe I'm wrong. Didn't I take the Paradoxical Outcome and not put it in my deck, or did I pass it really late? You play in pod, so I passed the Paradoxical Outcome with like 2 cards left in the pack or so? Okay. I chose Metamorphose. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. You can view your sideboard with right click. Oh, that's right. I forgot you could do that. View your sideboard. Does it actually work, unlike on Arena, where it doesn't show you what's actually in your sideboard? It just shows you what was in your sideboard when you registered your deck? Yeah, I did take Metamorphose. Okay. They really have access to a lot more mana than me. Is there a plan to win this somehow? Yeah. Walking Ballista. Bang. I don't think I'm likely to win, but the Walking Ballista does dominate what they actually have in play. Presumably they're about to Mystical Tutor for something that's going to make me concede, because they got Mystical Tutor off the second Narset activation, but I'll at least get to see what it is. The answer to what it is Time Twister. I do already have them down to 26. That's pretty good. This thing is like pay 50 life. Okay. So I might get to a spot where I have to shoot them to not die to an activation. Target artifact you control. They're turning the Chrome Mox into the reservoir, so I was hoping I was going to be able to pick off a servo in response, but no. I have to be dead now. So if they have one more spell, I lose. Probably they don't have any more spells. Probably their deck's just all lands. No, they had spells. Darn it. All right. Defeated by some cards I passed. That's never good. I don't know, do I have much in the way of good cards to sideboard here? Not really. I kind of think that this portal's never going to do anything against their deck, so I'm just going to play Manamorphose instead. Just hope Narset doesn't get into play, or at least doesn't stick in play. I have some okay ways to get it off the board. This is another one of those hands where the fact that my land comes in play tapped is so annoying. You would have gone Ancient Tomb? Yeah, it would have worked out better. For sure. This could be really bad for me, but if they only get to play one thing, maybe it won't be that bad. Their deck is great. The cards have lined up really well so far, I would say, for sure. It's not clear to me that their deck is great yet. The deck is just all the cards that I didn't like and didn't pick very highly. Nice. Killing the Kappa Cannoneers with Walking Ballista is going to cost a lot of mana. Probably more than I'll be able to afford to pay. That Cannoneer could have been ours. What did I take over it again? I don't remember. I think the card that I passed to them that I regret the most is the Narset. I took a land. Oh, I think I took a Celestial Colonnade over it, which is helping my mana, but would have been a lot better if it had just been a basic land this game. It could have been a Plains or an island, and I would have played the Teferi on turn 2 instead of getting it mana drained, which that would have worked out to my advantage. think I just want to not die to the Cannoneers. That's my main goal here. So I don't really want to let them turn something into a second Cannoneers and hit me. Does this kill me? I have a bunch of Retrofitter Foundry activations. I don't think it's enough, is it? Well, this seems like they're dead. I guess they're at 18, so maybe not. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, kill everything. Crew this. I think that would kill them. This gets up to 8, 10. There's a lot of different ways I'm pretty sure that kills them. Oh, wait. I can untap this thing. I think I screwed up. Doesn't matter though. I don't think so. Close. Very close. Do I want oust? Do I want to be ousting their Kappa Cannoneers? I don't think so. Oh no, they have Mana Crypt. Yeah, their deck is good. But can they handle turn 1 Phyrexian Dragon Engine? Seems like they can. I do have them all the way down to 14, though. So that's good. Down to 13. Down to 10. This is a fast clock. And I'm already up to 21. I wonder if they have Mana Drain. Mana Drain your currency converter? Oh, they won the flip? Ridiculous. Wait, why didn't that trigger? I'm confused. No, I don't want the Displacer to kitten to trigger. I thought that the Phyrexian Dragon Engine was supposed to trigger. It's possible I clicked through it too quickly, but I don't think I did. That Narset's annoying. Now, the Displacer Kitten has nothing to do with what I thought that the Phyrexian Dragon Engine's trigger was going to happen. Like, the Emery doesn't remove it from the graveyard before casting it. You're still casting it from the graveyard. It's because it entered from the stack. Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense, at least. It went from the graveyard to the stack to the battlefield, not the graveyard to the battlefield. It works with Goblin Welder. The fact that they're going to paradoxical outcome their Theming Skydiver is pretty annoying. They're also going to paradoxical outcome their Planeswalkers, which is going to be horrible for me. I knew that the Aetherflux Reservoir combo was potentially powerful. I didn't think it was going to be so powerful just from my opponent's deck. Them stealing my Reservoir and then killing me with it 2 games in a row. Am I straight up dead here? Probably. This is the card that I could have had, that I took over Paradoxical Outcome. It hasn't paid off for me. I assume they can kill me, but maybe not. Now they can kill me. That was brutal. Wasn't planning to lose the first round. Well, all right. Let's see if Arena's updated. It's Dinopod. I'm probably going to play a match or two of this and then stop. What is my deck? This is my Dinopod deck. I have the spawning pod and I have the dinosaurs. They appear to be playing a reanimation strategy. Excellent, a Juggernaut for me. I think they actually probably just improved my hand. Not that the Juggernaut is going to be great, but... Oh, they have an option to not do it. They might not do it. Because they don't get to see my lands, but they know that they are lands. It's a tough choice for the opponent. Get rid of their graveyard. Just kidding, it's not a Juggernaut. It's dinosaurs. Are there no infinite combos with Pod? Not in this deck. And I think it's probably not even possible to build infinite combos in Alchemy with Pod, but even in the older formats, it's really hard because this Pod is not, you don't get to just pick the creature. You have to build your deck in a very specific way if you want to be able to pick the creature. That was it? Is Alchemy nothing but Juggernaut Merchants? It is a lot of Juggernaut Merchants. You're going to face that card a lot if you play Alchemy. I'm just going to hope they don't have Shieldred. I think my opponent is just trying to imagine what they could possibly have to defeat all my dinosaurs. This is my boy, the Wingbane Vantasaur. You get Savage Stomp or you get Naturalize. It's great. Oh no. Is there an Atraxa in my future? Come on, Paleontologist. Slightly less than 50-50 shot, but I hit. That was a 4 out of 10 I just hit on. To get this Atraxa out of their graveyard before they can bring it back with Cruelty of Gix. They're going to go after my hand. No, you can't do this, opponent. That wasn't a legal play. I had fun in that match. That was not a legal play. That was shameful. Yeah, and your comments are very behind what's going on. At least I'm seeing them very behind what I'm doing. You're correct, though. That was what I realized eventually, with the help of the chat, was that the Phyrexian Dreadnought did not enter from the graveyard; it entered from the stack. Killing my paleontologist so I can't get a dinosaur into play? Rude. Very rude. My hand is terrible. Take whatever you want. This is a bit of a problem. Come on, whiff. It did not whiff. Look at all these Tybalts. We got one in play and 3 in the yard, and the game barely started. How is the Dino matchup against the Roots deck? I think my deck's good against their deck. Like, I'm probably going to lose this game, but it's not really because of the matchup. It's because I only had 2 lands for a while. Although, actually, if they don't have a good turn next turn, I'll probably be right back in the game. What happened in the Vintage Cube draft? I lost to a bunch of cards that I passed. You're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but I lost to someone stealing my Aetherflux Reservoir and killing me with it. Which was a sad, sad way to go. Do I have to kill this thing? Yes, I need to kill this. I'm going to wind up coming up a little short, I think, this game, because I'm going to be a turn behind blowing up the Insidious Roots. So they're going to get to Tyvar this turn. and assuming that they don't whiff, they're going to get 2 Roots triggers. I'm probably too far behind at this point to come back. Maybe I can still come back. Probably not. Is there a competitive scene in Alchemy? Not really, but the arena qualifier for this month is Alchemy, so people probably pay a little bit more attention to it. It's not like it used to be. If you played Alchemy like 6 months or a year ago and you were playing on the ladder, half the time you played against people that just had completely non-competitive decks. Like this person I'm playing against is playing like a very normal top tier deck. And even my first opponent, I don't know that their deck is necessarily like normal top tier, but they played entirely reasonable cards. They just didn't play them very well. If I get a mana next turn, so I actually get to cast the Zacama, it's probably going to win. These Progenitor... How many... The Propagator Primordiums are going to go off in 2 turns. For people who have never played Alchemy, the Alchemy cards make Insidious Roots much stronger than it is in Standard because of this one card, Chitinous Crawler, and the Propagator Primordiums both are very strong. Oh, I stacked this wrong. I get the Haywire Might. That was bad. They didn't do it, though. Is it worth attacking with a Tali? It would kill the Rubble Belt Maverick, which I don't really want to have happen yet. I think if I draw an untapped mana source, I probably win with Zacama. If I don't draw an untapped mana source and the Propagator Primordiums get to go off, that's a problem. Does this thing target? I guess it doesn't matter. I can't Paleontologist. Because it's just going to trigger Roots a bunch. I guess my best shot is to hope I find Tranquil Frillback. Wait, if these things die, you can start coming back. I think that's fine, though. That was 1,000 IQ play. That was lucky. I also had a second shot at a Tranquil Frillback, but I wasn't going to have enough mana to pay for it to do anything. I think it was better to go with the Scale Speaker Shepherd. Also, I wasn't 100% dead even if I bricked. Like, they would have had a really good turn, and they would have gotten a lot. Their board would have improved a lot, but I don't know that they actually would have been in a winning position. Guess I'm fine with Primordium starting to primordiate. Now I have enough mana to cast Zacama next turn, and I think from that point they're doomed. Snarling Gorehound is no match for Zacama. Three, 6. So they could just block Zacama with everything. They'd die if that happened. Probably. I'll let them figure it out. It felt a bit slow against Gruul Dinos. You actually played against people playing Gruul Dinos? Was it like my version of Gruul Dinos? Or sometimes people play one that's built around Doors of Durin, which I don't think is very good. I think they may have survived. They did. They killed off my Scale Speaker Shepherds, which that was rude of them. My version is popular on the ladder with Spawning Pod. I guess I posted a video yesterday, which before that video went up, I've never seen anybody else playing it. Another Tranquil Frillback matchup. Where do you even find alchemy lists besides YouTube? You got to make them. I don't know where you find them. If you there's another person, Altheriax, who posts alchemy stuff sometimes on YouTube, and I think he maybe writes for like one of the weird arena websites. He frequently makes really good decks. I think that he probably made the Insidious Roots deck that I'm playing against right now. Which, it does seem, the Insidious Roots deck does really powerful things. It does have to play a lot of really bad cards. And I haven't actually played with it myself, but it seems like if one of your key pieces dies or your graveyard goes away at a key moment, that you have a lot of Snarling Gorehounds in your deck. And Fairy Dream Thieves. This card kind of KOs their whole deck. I got to avoid the auto tapper with pain lands is brutal. It never wants you to take any damage from your lands. I wonder if they're going to take the frill back. They did. Come on, give me something good, like a pod. How did I know? I didn't. But I was hoping. Brutal. They found a Haywire Mite. Very, very rude opponent. For that, I'm going to kill your Tyvar. I guess I might lose this game. Gonna need to draw some business next turn, probably. If I wanted to, I could help them out by using the Paleontologist to exile these creatures from their graveyard and forcing them to take Insidious Roots triggers. Is the one of Braid worth it for the bats? I don't think so. If I have a Wingbane Vanthasaur or a pod, I can get a Savage Stomp to get the bat off the board. And like Upbraid is just such a bad top deck for most of the game. I do not think it's worth it. Okay, that's a pretty good draw. Do I want to fire it off now? I guess I can induce them to jump. I want 5 mana for that thing. Guess I'm not going to attack with the Paleontologist or any of the Delighted Halflings. There's a Gruul Alchemy Dino that's good against bats. Stalwart Speartail. It's in my sideboard. I don't think it's good in this matchup. And I just don't. I don't think it's good against the bats at all. It's just way too much mana. Like, you're going to play a 3-mana 4/4 against a black deck that you then need to untap and attack with. And then you're going to spend 3 more mana. I think the Spirit Tail is good against Boros Convoke decks. And I think it's okay against like mono red kind of burn decks that are trying to attack with Monastery Swift Spear. I don't think it does enough in this matchup. Like a lot of their X ones you don't even necessarily want to kill most of the time. Come on, something good. Give me something good like a Palani Hatcher. Still looking for that Palani's Hatcher. This time we're looking for it with a Tali. I did not find it. I'm going to get to trigger this thing. What does it do exactly? I'm going to get a duplicate copy of my Trumpeting Carnosaur into my graveyard, which I can then cast with the Paleontologist. Doesn't seem like the game's going to last long enough that I'm going to run out of Trumpeting Carnosaurs in my graveyard to cast, though. You couldn't have found a spot to cast that earlier? Maybe not. Oh, I can pop this into the Hatcher. But that doesn't help. I guess that does help me, actually, because I'm going to play a Carnosaur from my graveyard. Do I have enough mana to do that? Yeah, I have just enough. And now I have more than I need. It's a Trumpeting Carnosaur. I could conceivably just hit the Hatcher off of this. Then I wouldn't need the pod. Let's see if that happens. Hit a Frillback. Guess I'm just going to get rid of their graveyard. Please give me some eggs. I'm even going to attack with this egg. No, I didn't get to attack. Denied. Last match for me. Yes, The Lighted Halfling is really good. There are a couple of cards from Lord of the Rings that are pretty out of place in the standard style format. On the draw, this is probably a mulligan. This, I guess, is slightly better. It's still pretty bad, though. Is this a Jund version of that deck? Appears to be. I wonder why they have red in their deck. Think they have Crucius in their deck? I guess that's possible. So this is a Kama game? Probably not. Well, I'm going to get crushed this game. At least I assume I'm going to get crushed this game. Maybe I'm not. I have no idea what this card is. It's a way for them to get Rubble Belt Maverick into their graveyard. Okay. I never had a shot this game. They do have Crucius. So when I was saying earlier that the Insidious root stacks are a lot better in Alchemy than they are in Standard, it's because of stuff like this. Which I guess they didn't play that many Alchemy-only cards, did they? They played Propagator Primordium, but it didn't really matter that game. I think I don't want to board in Soul Guide Lantern against their deck. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's mostly for people who are trying to reanimate Atraxas. The Chitinous Crawler, which my other opponent had, is also can be really good at times. You can get I think if you have two Insidious Roots in play and you have the Crawler and you have Propagator Primordium, you actually just go infinite. Another hand with no mana creatures. I think this hand is good enough to keep. I'm on the play, and as we've seen already, Frillback is generally great against the Insidious Roots decks. It's like a 5-card combo. Yeah, it is a 5-card combo, but all of those cards are just good on their own. Maybe the Chitinous Crawler's the weakest of them. But the Chitinous Crawler is just generally pretty powerful in that deck. Because if you're not trying to go infinite, it just does a lot of things that are good on anyway. Do I want Savage Stomp? I think I might. So it seems like this person cut some of their Snarling Gorehounds. It's kind of cool. I don't really want to trade the Vanthasaur with Golem Patient Plotter. I can do a little bit of damage to their graveyard, but they've got 3 Propagator Primordiums, so I don't think they can hit anything that is going to make me wish I Paleontologisted first. Bam. Doing a little bit of damage there. And by a little bit, I mean a real little bit. I just get nothing? I was robbed. This is going to be a good one. They didn't even stick around to see that I had the frill back. Disappointing. Putting the opponent to the test again. Are they going to be able to win a game where I draw Tranquil Frillback? They don't seem to have Deep Cavern Bats in their deck, so they may not even be able to get it out of my hand. I guess they had Phantasmal Extraction in one of the sideboard games, so maybe they can make me discard it. Not sure the Soul Cauldrons are worth having in their deck. Never seems to do anything. Oh, I should have played a Copperline Gorge. What am I doing? What do you think they have in their hand? Okay. Something. Just gonna get Savage Stomp again. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do all three, but whatever. So what does this do? I don't think that does enough. You played with that Overcooked deck with Caldera Breaker in it. Sometimes you do really cool things. I think that it's a little bit. It's too bad against Reprieve, I think, was my main experience, but it is legitimately very good. Can you do this at instant speed? No. Can I kill them this turn? Probably not. 22 is a lot. I can do a good amount of damage, though. Without doing any math, I'm going to say it's not 22. We'll never know. They conceded. Yeah, I've got the Koth Emblem kills are also pretty awesome. All right, that's it for me for today. Thanks for watching. I'm disappointed that I kind of spewed off that Vintage Cube draft. I don't know if I would have won if I'd taken the paradoxical outcome, but I wouldn't have lost in such stellar, like humiliating fashion of dying to my own Aetherflux Reservoir twice in one match. That was kind of awful. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you at some point in the future. I'm probably going to make a video. If you haven't already, you should sub to my channel, which I don't know how you would have found the stream if you weren't subbed to the channel. But I'll probably make a video in the next day or two where I'm going to try adding the new, I don't know what the name of it is, the alchemy card that you get an instant or sorcery back if it's multicolored, and it I don't know what the name of, the thing where it adds blue to the casting cost and it makes it so you can draw a card. I'm going to try adding some copies of that into this deck, playing with this deck some more. This deck wasn't horrible. It wasn't great, though. Maybe the new card is enough to improve it. But you'll have to wait for the video to find out.